welcome everybody to the Agent Economy episode 13. Back here again with Chris. I'm Stephen, and we're going to be sharing with you today some insights on some of the tools that we've been building for the clients that we've been working for. We've spent the last 12 episodes talking about everything going on in AI search, GEO, SEO, AEO, etc. But we thought today maybe we'll just get under the hood and show you some of the tools that Chris and I have been working on. So Chris, over to you first. I think I know you've been building out your tech stack. I've got access to it. I've been having a look around. Super interesting. Tell us more.
Yeah, sure, for sure. Well, firstly, good to be back. We had a bit of a week off. I was away on holiday, Combo, Portugal and Centre Parks, but back into the thick of things. I was just saying to yourself, Stephen, 2 weeks out feels like 2 years in this game. So lots to catch up on. Yeah, so we've actually spoken about this quite a lot within the agent economy around agencies of the future, native agencies or AI native agencies. Really, the barriers to entry for building technology now have pretty much disappeared with AI. So there's lots of technology companies out there. And historically, for agencies, you would obviously win business and then you would put FTEs on that. And it was very much a service model that you would use in market. For us, and again, with my tech background, I wanted to be a tech-enabled agency and utilize the best technologies in market, but also build my own. So we've spent the last 8-9 months building out technology, which is, we believe, like one of the best in market for an agency that's doing a lot of work in AEO, GEO, SEO. So let's run you through some of it today.
And Chris, in terms of, or maybe we'll come on to the tech stack later, but in terms of like the idea creation or like knowing what to build, I think this is what's really interesting. If you're like doing the work, then you see what you need the tool to do for you, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So we're obviously working with a lot of clients now, and the best market feedback is coming directly from your existing clients, right? So if there are gaps in the technology, historically you'd have to obviously scope it, work with the engineers, build it out. There'd be a bit of a delay to get that actually into the technology. Now we can ship super fast. We can kind of scope it, we can QA, and we can launch like in a day if needs be. So we look for common themes that are coming up from our clients and what we're hearing from the industry, and we build it. So it's one of the beauties of having your own technology within a marketing agency. You're not dependent upon other technology providers. You can just ship updates and features and capabilities that your clients need. So yeah, it's been great to use.
Crazy speed as well now, right? Like you said, like you could spin something. If you've got the capacity on a given day, you'd have a meeting in the morning, clients asking for something. It's quite possible you could be shipping it before the day's closed, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We use Claude, we've used Fable pretty extensively in Opus. And we have really good workflows within those technologies within those models to scope very quickly, identify gaps, and we can, basically implement changes and updates very quickly. But
You say,
this is the sorry,
One quick one. When you say we're using Claude, so like Claude's helping you to like write the code and do some of the deployment, but it actually sits on some infrastructure and tech, doesn't it? So like maybe just say a few words on that first.
Yeah, sure. So we use Superbase as our backend. That's where all the data is stored on a daily basis. We use Vercel and React. So Vercel kind of triages a lot of the different model work, and then React is the front end that we're using. And then there's various other bits we add into the technology. We basically pipe in data from a variety of different sources, one being searchable, the other being GA4, Google Search Console. So we've incorporated the best of all of these technologies into our own platform. And for us, it was originally an internal tool to help us move faster, do more work quickly. But it's ultimately become a really nice front end, lots of really nice features and capabilities that our clients get a lot of value from. So we're now in a position where we have clients in the technology now using some of the capabilities. So it's been great.
Cool. So take us through that.
Yeah, so show you a few bits that we have. I think with a lot of AI visibility, prompt trackers, there's a lot of analytics in the tools. For us, we didn't just want to be a reporting platform. We wanted to actually have actionability off the back of it. So everything you see here, we can ultimately ship fixes, whether it's new content, whether it's technical changes, whether it's digital PR outreach. And another key thing was like, what is the value of doing this? We wanted to really combine all those data sets and show as visibility improved, as share of voice, as you mentioned, and citation rate jumped. What was the downstream impact on revenue ultimately? So the typical metrics that you'd be working towards: visibility, technical scores, share of voice. We also look at any particular fixes that are required, any citation gaps that you may have, trends over time. So your visibility, your readiness, and then any outstanding issues. And then importantly, we track and we understand as you're shipping fixes, as we're adding new content, what is the impact on visibility? And then we move into what is the downstream impact on actual value. So we have a closed loop system we use. This you might have seen, we've talked about it before from Y Combinator, how utilizing AI, you want to have that as your central brain. Any things you're doing, any fixes you're implementing, any new content, everything needs to be tracked and implemented. And then you're looking at the optimization loop and whether that's worked or if it hasn't. So we track prompts, visibility, citations, all the way through to revenue, and we optimize at every single stage. And then this is just a demo account, but you can see from there, we're looking at attribution. So direct AI traffic that's coming to your site. We're also then looking at what is the impact on branded search uplift and things like dark direct traffic. And then ultimately tying this back to ROI as well. So we use commercial inputs, we look at conversion rates, and then we look at what is your AI visibility actually worth for your business. So lots of cool value adds here where most people are going to be getting the question right, like what is the value of us investing in AI
For
search?
sure.
This is how we approach it, and this is using kind of industry benchmarks as well as some of the data that we have actually natively within our company.
Thanks. And Chris, quickly, a couple of things. So I think on the previous page you're showing about like dark and direct, and maybe just or like yeah further ups. And I think that's like super helpful for people to understand because of course, like direct traffic is people who are in the platforms. They've searched inside of ChatGPT for the category or the query that they've got, a brand or a company's been recommended. They've clicked on that. They've gone to the retailer's site or to the brand site or to the website of that company, and then they've made a transaction. And you actually like have that direct link to the sale. But the like indirect version is obviously like you're influencing people's decision making in the AI tool, and then they're going off elsewhere and making a purchase. And we've seen loads of really interesting stats come out recently from companies like SimilarWeb, just talking about how big that influence is, and it's massive. Like you can't ignore it. And so I think slightly trickier to figure that out, that indirect bit, rather than the direct part. But
Yeah.
like if you get comfortable with what those numbers should be for your category, then I think it starts to become almost like no brainer that you should be investing in this stuff because the ROI is definitely going to be there for you.
Yeah, exactly that. It's combating the gap in attribution. So we use a two-prong attack. So one is measured, where we're obviously measuring the direct AI traffic coming through. The other is modeled. So we gather data over time and we look at the halo effect of visibility improvements. What is the likely impact on branded search uplift? And like you say, we're going from, okay, visible within an AI overview. Oftentimes, and you'll do it yourself, you'll then go to Google search and type in that brand or type in a particular query. And then oftentimes you're going directly to the URL bar to find that brand. So it's really a modeled and measured approach, but it's looking at attribution from an AI search standpoint. So this has been great for brands that understand that this impact is happening, but they don't have numbers behind it. We bring that data together and basically visualize it for them.
It's awesome. And then maybe like if I maybe could say how like I think this platform was operating because you've described how you built it, you described how you've got various different data feeds and pipes coming together. Like this really, and it's interesting, right? Because you built it for yourself first or for your business first, and now you've realized that you can actually take this external. But it's bringing everything into one place that relates to AI search, visibility, geo, AEO. So if you're a brand plug into this platform. Basically, you just don't need to go look anywhere else. Everything's coming into here. Like you said, you have like GA4 connected, so you see Google traffic and trends. you got information coming through from Searchable, but in theory, that could be like any platform that tracks prompts and prompt visibility. And then you're in this platform doing that optimization work, or like, tracking that optimization work and the uplift that comes from it. So it really is like a full stack tool that would do everything for you in AI search, right?
Yeah, exactly that. I think if you think back to kind of your pre-AI era, you'd often be operating in multiple different platforms. So Google Search Console, maybe you're using like SEMrush, you're then using Google Search Console GA4, multiple different platforms. For us, we wanted to consolidate, bring everything into a platform, create our own workflows, which we knew worked for our clients, and build it out basically using AI. So yeah, we're now in a really good position, and we use this extensively on a hourly basis at the moment, myself and the team. And I think one of the key things is we didn't just want to be reporting like, here's your prompt that you're tracking, here's your visibility, here's your share of voice, mention citations. Anyone can pretty much do that. You can plug and play any tool, data for SEO, for example. But for us, we wanted to build the automations on top, which meant we could do much more work, much faster, and really get to a position where we're delivering value for clients. And a good example of that is our outreach tab. So within here, we can basically automate some of the digital PR outreach where we're identifying gaps that we're seeing. So we can see where the different AI engines are citing certain sources. And we can see the different gaps that for this particular brand that they're not appearing against. We can run that gap analysis. What this is saying is for this particular brand, they're not currently visible at highly cited domains, whether it's editorials, blogs, whatever it may be. And then we can move straight away into the pitch angle. So we can actually start to generate automations here to identify why your brand isn't on that particular editorial, what the outreach angle might be, and then identify any editors for that particular blog or post, and then automate that outreach piece as well. So lots of cool data, but the automation is really the killer feature and capability to really, drive value for clients very quickly.
Awesome. Which is also, like productivity play, right? Which is like cool. We were talking about this before the show, like loads of great data that you might be able to get access to now. You understand what your brand visibility looks like in AI search. You might have some ideas about what to do about it, but like how do you go and do that? And also, not so much like skill and knowledge is sitting inside organizations today on how to execute this stuff because it's all quite new. And so actually having a tool that I guess does a bunch of those steps for you is super powerful versus, hey, here's a tool, you then need to go figure out how to use it yourself and like how to activate around it, which is great first step, but actually like the harder bit right now, I think, is the brands, the companies actually knowing what to do with that information, and then like you've shown actually being able to derive or like show the uplift from the time and cash investment that they're putting into it.
Yeah, exactly that. I think the key thing is I wanted to flip the agency model. I wanted to move from like 15% margins to a SaaS type margin, 70, 80%, which is what we've been able to achieve in 8, 9 months. So we're a marketing agency, but we're a tech enabled marketing agency. So having technology, which is proprietary on our own IP, means we can do a lot more with a lot more clients with less headcount. So for us, it's been a bit of a game changer,
Awesome.
and also the market's moving so fast that you need to have certain methodologies, you need to have certain capabilities, and you can't really rely on the technology companies that you're working with to generate them. You want to really build out. And a great example is ChatGPT ads, where we've built some really cool ad functionality now to identify from the initial response, should we be running ads based on where we're at within that initial response? So lots of cool, like innovative methodologies and capabilities that we can build in like a day or two and just take to market.
I was going to ask about that because I think, yeah, ads coming in super interesting. And of course, some of the tools getting ready for it already and like showing some of the visibility there. But I also can imagine, there'll be some customer requests maybe from a brand or a company you're working with that says, hey, we're using this tool, like we're getting this data. Could you help us pipe that into the dashboard? And reality is like, you could do that, right? It's possible if someone says, hey, we use SEMrush, like, is there any way we can have our SEMrush data showing here in an additional page? You could build that on top. And then you end up with this platform, which is client facing, best of breed tools feeding into it. And then you're just like customizing the view that they're having and all the different metrics that they want to see, which I think is super interesting. And also, it's probably true, right? Like, you build a platform, you scale it out, you build a team around it. We've seen this happen loads. The guys at Profound, the guys at Peak. Like, I don't know for sure, but like my guess is that their like cadence and their speed of deploying new features will slow down as they get bigger. Might not be true, but because of AI, but like I think broadly speaking, you would expect that to be the case, right? Just
Yeah, I think so.
over
Yeah,
a large
especially with
organization.
some of the enterprise clients they've got, they're probably like building out, but they're going to have to go through like certain
Exactly.
QA processes before
For
they
sure.
launch.
Yeah. And so then what that means is for people like you and me who are building maybe like a layer on top is like you can push that functionality a little bit quicker and actually you could bring in that ads tracking capability before, let's say, Searchable or Profound or whoever's information is being piped in shows it. And then at a later date, well, maybe they come along with it and maybe it's slightly more robust and maybe it works better. Who knows? And then you can just show that one instead. It's almost like front running like
Yeah, yeah.
what I mean, they're still new, but like the bigger tech stacks in the space, like front running them, and I mean that in a good way, not in like in a bad way, but like front running them a little bit, so you add that extra level of value to the clients that use it.
Yeah, 100%. I think another key thing is kind of counter to typical product-led growth SaaS businesses is you can customize it, right? So if a client needs something, you can build that into their interface,
For sure.
and keep that separate from your other clients. So if there's a need for a certain feature or capability, we can kind of build it, ship it for that particular client. If it's like an e-com use case or if it's for B2B client. So it's kind of customized tech for individual clients. But
That's it. That's exactly it. Which you couldn't do, 2 years ago. Like that wasn't possible. Even a year ago, I think that would have been pretty
yeah, it would
difficult
kill
to
you
do.
scaling. But yeah, that's Blackbirds. Lots of other capabilities in there, but that was just a bit of a snapshot for you.
Nice. And then maybe like in a year's time, we'll show it again and see like how it's evolved. I'm sure it will
Yeah,
evolve.
yeah, for sure. We're doing probably 3 or 4 new feature releases a week at the moment. So yeah, it's pretty wild how fast we can ship.
Nice. And then I'm going to share something that I've been building next. Maybe preface that with a couple of comments because in previous episode we talked through like all the big platforms that are being used at the moment. We talked about Profound, let's say the market leader, not necessarily the first, but like the biggest at the moment with their $1 billion valuation. We talked about Peak, who are like a fast follower in Germany. We talked about Searchable, which obviously you use and based out of the UK. Talked about Share Model, which is the platform I use, powered by or owned by the agency Jellyfish. And they were all like platforms that like, I guess, self-serve. People can come on and buy access to them. One I missed out was Azoma. A guy called Max Sinclair set that up, and it's a fantastic platform, but it's enterprise grade. Used it when I was at Mars, and they've gone really deep on their capability around tracking how models on retailers are working. So that would look like Amazon Rufus or Alexa for shopping, but also Sparky as well. And they're really the market leaders in that space. And we're going to have Max, I think, on a future episode. So I'll look forward to asking him more about that detail. When we spoke about shared model, I mentioned those guys also do some Alexa for shopping tracking as well, which is true. But because of my background and let's say the amount of time I spent helping brands selling on Amazon, like I get a lot of questions from people asking me, how is Alexa for shopping working? Is our brand visible there? And so like out of us, maybe a similar demand that you saw for your clients and needing to build things for them, I've done the same and I've started to track the visibility inside of Amazon Rufus for certain brands. So I built out a tool to do that. Actually started out as a different tool that was about creating the right prompt groupings and thematics, and then has evolved into this Amazon Rufus tool. But I've also been piping in the data I've got from Share of Model as well. So like it can plug in different data sources and I can start to customize it. Much more early stages with this tool. So like it's still in the testing phase, but seemingly like working reasonably well. Built the same tech stack, so took inspiration from you, Chris, on using Superbase, and like Claude is obviously powering everything in the background in terms of the setup, and then a bit of a React front end. I just whizzed through it real quick because it's not like super ready for like client use yet. It's more just let's say in early stages of testing. But like all the classic stuff, like let's have a query set that we're going to run through through Amazon Rufus, which we do mostly in the UK at the moment. Give these similar metrics of looking at like visibility of a brand. This is a sun cream brand that I'm working with. When are you appearing? When aren't you appearing against prompts on Amazon? What's really interesting on Amazon, like it's a slightly different platform, of course, than ChatGPT and Gemini, and it does some things differently. So when you ask a question on Amazon, like it will always put in some suggested questions afterwards. And so looking at those is really interesting, right? It's a bit like the query.
Query
Not
fan, that
exactly
kind of.
not exactly that, but like it's similar, right? Because it's saying, hey, here's another branch of questions that you go on. So start to track those as well. And then, of course, this is like super rich detail and data to use for building content around, whether that's written content or visual content. So tracking those things, like looking at the products as well. This page still needs a little bit of tweaking, but like you can see all the different products in the category. And then finally, some other things that are interesting, which is like persuasion cues. So when Rufus is mentioning products, like how often is it showing reviews? Like, does it talk about deals? Like, is it using bestseller language and those labels that you see on the retail site? So what I think is going to be really interesting about building this tool out is, well, first of all, like I find it super interesting because it's Amazon related and, I've been doing that for a long time now. But secondly, like how it's different and what the nuances are versus your visibility inside of ChatGPT and Gemini. And then I feel like, not that the work done on ChatGPT and Gemini doesn't have a direct link back. It does, and you showed in your tool like the way to do ROI. But I feel like on the Amazon shopping platform, like it's super direct, like
Yeah.
correlation to sales, right? And the final thing I'll say is it's important to note this, really important, I think, because up until now, the game for optimizing on Amazon has largely been about keywords and it's largely been about what exists on the Amazon retail platform. So your PDP and your brand store, that's it. Rufus is obviously changing that game in terms of it's not about keywords anymore and the Cosmo algorithm behind it. It's more about like the intent and the different ways that you write the copy on your page. So in theory, like all content on Amazon needs a bit of a rework. Plus, Amazon's pushing through new title setups as well, which is partly related to Cosmo. So, like, everyone's going to need to redo their title, their bullet points, and their description at some point in the next
Yeah.
couple of years, I think. Then the more interesting thing is on Amazon now in the US, you see it, not so much in the UK yet, but it'll tell you in the answers the sources of information that it's getting the product from. And that
Interesting.
can include comparison sites, can include Wikipedia, can include your own brand site. And so just like on ChatGPT, where you see the sources of influence in Gemini and Perplexity and Claude, you also are seeing it on Amazon Rufus, which means that the game of optimizing on Amazon for sales on Amazon is now not just on Amazon. It's everything
Interesting.
else that is alongside it as well. So it
Okay.
kind of
So
blows that whole optimization game wide open, I think.
the third party sources become important then for Amazon as well.
Absolutely. So I think this is a real challenge for Amazon only brands. So if you've built an Amazon native brand, which was a big thing in like I guess like the late 20 teens, so like 2015 through 2020, there's a lot of those that came about and got very big and were part of like a big consolidation play that happened too. Like if you don't have presence off Amazon, that's going to start to hurt you, I think, over the next couple of years.
Do you know where the top citations are coming from for Amazon? You know how we do the study for like Reddit,
Yeah,
LinkedIn,
for sure.
YouTube.
I don't think anyone's gone deep on enough on that yet. I'm pretty sure the guys at Azoma have the answer to that. So I'm pretty sure if we ask Max in a few weeks' time, he'll give us the answer to it. And my best guess is it's going to be very different from ChatGPT and Gemini.
Yeah, I imagine so. I didn't realize they were now looking at third party citations or sources.
Yeah, absolutely. I might even just see if I can get it on the screen and show you, just to give everyone an example. I mean, it's mostly just in the US now that that's happening. So, like, I don't think you'll see it in the UK at the moment. But let me just see if I can get it to appear. I'm going to ask about coffee machines and see if it triggers, and if it does, I will ask the terrible question there. I can't type and talk at the same time. But let's see what it comes up with. So I said, like, what is the coffee machines? I meant, what is the best coffee machines? Obviously, like, gives you a whole bunch of different answers down here. And like, for anyone that didn't know, like, it says Alexa for shopping there. That's really fully transitioned in the US, but not quite the same in Europe yet, but it will roll out. We've got loads of different coffee machines being mentioned here. Actually, an absolute stack, a ton of them. And then here we go at the bottom, sources. See that?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Then we got here, like, what's that?
Wired.
Living View, Wired, Popular Science. So
Amazing.
Popular Science is it's best coffee machines for offices. Wired is best coffee makers, and Living Hive is best coffee makers. So, like, I mean, that's just classic geo stuff, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
go find the website where the URL slug is the question that's being answered, and we'll pull the information from there. And so, like that.
Basic retrieval, but I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, actually, it's a really good point about basic retrieval. I mean, the game on Amazon, optimizing on Amazon, has always been like a basic version of search engine optimization, right? It was like search optimization from like 5 years ago is how which should think about like, or how in the past you would think about optimizing on Amazon with keywords. And so maybe the same thing is going to be true here, which is like, it's just going to be like a bit like geo, but maybe like couple of years behind, which
Geo Light.
yeah, Geo Light, and then that is super exciting to me because I'm like, well, and if you know how to do Geo like full suite, however you want it, full stack, then it
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
pretty straightforward to do the light version on
Yeah, for
Amazon.
sure. Out of
Yeah.
interest, have you got any stats on usage of Alexa shopping in Amazon?
It's ramping pretty hard. What was the latest number? I don't want to misquote something. I think it was like, what was the number? I'm sure I posted it on LinkedIn recently, but it has like the number from last year was $12 billion worth of rev through Alexa
Influenced.
influenced conversations in Q4. Like I think we've legged up again now because there's been 2 quarters that Amazon have reported on. I can't remember what the number is, but it's ramping pretty hard. And actually, the one other final thing I'll quickly show you if we've got one more minute is um, like actually, yeah, I didn't think I told you this. Let me show you this. So they've now got you can get access to Alexa chat. So this just looks like exactly like a ChatGPT chat, exactly like a Gemini chat, and you interact with it in exactly the same way. So I can put in here again. So, what is the best coffee maker? Uh, Machine, I should probably say, shouldn't I? And like it'll operate in exactly the same way that ChatGPT would, give you the answers. And then one thing that's a little bit spooky, and I probably won't do on the podcast, but like if I hit this button here, it'll show you all the different conversations that I've had with Alexa me and my kids and my wife have had with
No
Alexa
way.
in the, yeah, so you can go and have a look at that stuff as well. But this is them just trying to get like, we talked about this before, like this crossover between on-platform and off-platform, and ChatGPT want to like transact on Amazon, they don't want to, etc. or Perplexity, and now this is absolutely like Amazon Alexa trying to come and eat the, Gemini ChatGPT lunch, I think. So there you
Super
go.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And what this is this in beta or
Yeah. So
GA?
if you're Alexa Prime subscriber, and then you've gone and activated Alexa Plus, which anyone can do now. So like if you haven't got the upgraded version of Alexa, just go activate Alexa Plus inside your Prime account on Amazon. And if you do that, then in theory you should be able to also like activate this as well. I think I got an email invite about it a couple of weeks ago, so worth having a play
Very
around on.
cool. Very cool. And then final question for me, what's next for LMO7 on the platform side? What are you looking to build out?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Everything.
Yeah, everything and everything. I think look, the holy grail would be like you have a PIM system, you have your like way of pumping content to a retailer platform, which could look like, a lot of these brands use platforms like Salsify, use a platform like what we've built at LMI7 to basically bring in insight, just optimized copy. You press a button, pushes it live, sends it through the PIM, or like sends it to the PIM, pushes it back out, syndicates it on Amazon. Checks it's all right, checks it's all in the same place, check that it's not been overwritten by spivvy 3P resellers there, and then you just watch the sales rank improve. And I think the brands that do that first will definitely like win this next leg up on Amazon.
Nice. Okay, very cool. Exciting.
Indeed, I think so. So that we're going to close out episode 13 with that insight. If anyone wants to know how we built those tools or wants to have a look at them, like for sure, just send us a DM in LinkedIn, and then we'll be back again soon with episode 14.
Awesome. Good times. Speak soon, guys.
Cheers, Chris. Nice.